Hello friends, this is Ponniyin Selvan, Season 1's final episode. Our story began in the banks of Veeranam River, journeyed through Kadambur, Tanjavur, Palayarai and now have reached the shores of Mamallapuram. Last week's episode ended with Parthibendra Pallavarayan confronting Aditya Karikalar about why he became enraged when Malayaman mentioned Periya Palvettariyar's young new wife. What is the link between them? Let's watch. To answer Parthibendran's question, Aditya Karikalar dived down the memory lane. Parthiba, it is said that when Hanumar opened and showed his heart, inside was Lord Rama and Sita. Do you know who will be inside my heart if I opened and showed you? Not my parents, who I worship the most in this world. Not my brother or sister, who I love the most in this world. Not you or Vandyadevan, who I consider my best friends in this world. No, in my heart, you will see the most sinful woman who ever walked the earth, poisonous as a snake, the cunning princess of Palvur, Nandini, said Karikalar. But Parthibendran interjected. I sort of guessed that already, my friend. What intrigues me is you are a man of honor. The comradeship between your family and the Palvettariyars dates way back to your ancestors. How did you commit this betrayal of desiring another man's wife? Asked Parthibendran. Have some patience, Parthibendra. I am getting there. Judge me all you want. After hearing the whole story, I know Nandini before she became the princess of Palvur. I know her from her childhood. Aditya Karikalar replied. Before continuing with the flashback, let's quickly recap where else in the story their relationship was subtly referenced before. First, when Nambi revealed to Vandyadevan that Nandini is his sister, he also mentioned that Veerapandiyan was beheaded by the Cholas right in front of Nandini in her house. Next, in Vanathi's flashback episode, we got to know that Aditya Karikalar himself actually beheaded Veerapandiyan. And finally, in Ravidasar's flashback, when the Pandya guards were about to throw Nandini into the Veerapandiyar spire, she swore her alliance to them, claiming she had a stronger reason for revenge. Bearing all this in mind, let's hear Aditya Karikalar's story. I was 12 when I saw Nandini for the first time. In Palayarai, I was playing in the canal behind the palace with my brother and sister. We were sailing in the canal, and while we did, we heard our grandmother, Sembiyan Madevi's voice coming from one of the houses. Curious, we peeked into the house and saw a little girl near my sister's age and her parents. Although there were many people in there, the only image that got etched in my heart was the little girl and her wide eyes. My sister went in and started chatting with her grandmother. My grandmother pointed at the little girl and said to Kundavai, My dear, do you see this girl? She has come to stay at our priest Isana Sivabhattar's house. Do include her when you guys play, okay? But while we returned, I realized that Kundavai didn't like Nandini. She said, Did you look at that girl? Didn't she look like an owl? It made me realize how women and jealousy are synonymous. Kundavai is a very pretty girl. But if she feels jealous, you can imagine how pretty Nandini was. To tease Kundavai, I talked in support of Nandini. But that was just a pretense. Actually, Nandini was already on her way to my heart. Soon, war broke between the Cholas and the Pandyas, and I left for battle with my father. The Pandya forces were united with the Ceylon forces, and yet we thrashed them all and gave them a run for their money. The Pandya king went into hiding, and father decided to stop the help that the Pandyas were receiving from Ceylon. So, we sent a ship with men and resources under the captaincy of Kodumbur Siriyavelar to Ceylon. Only when we received message that the ship has reached Maatottam, we returned back to Palayarai. 2 years have passed by then, and I had totally forgot about the priest's little daughter. In meantime, Kundavai and Nandini had quickly grown up. When I saw them again, Nandini was wearing silk and gold and looked regal in them. It was all Kundavai's work. They were best friends now. When I tried to talk to Nandini, she was very reserved and shy. It took me a while to bring her out of her shyness and befriend her, but no one liked our relationship. It annoyed Kundavai so much that she again started acting mean to Nandini. Our grandmother, Sembi and Madevi, warned me, saying that they were both grown up now and that I shouldn't get involved with a priest's daughter as I'm a prince. And Nandini left Palayarai with her parents and moved back to Madurai. I was so sad, angry and frustrated, and I blamed Kundavai and my grandmother for her untimely departure. I buried my sadness and took out my frustrations on them both. Thankfully, soon I had to leave to the north to deal with the troubles from Rashtrakudas. I came to battle against them under grandfather Malayaman. That's when I met you. Our thoughts and skills aligned so well that we became quick friends. We fought bravely and finished the Rashtrakudas. But soon we received the bad news from Ceylon that Ilaya Velalar died and that their mission failed. Veerapandiyan was so overjoyed that he came out from hiding, gathered his troops and reclaimed Madurai. Parthiba, remember how enraged we were when we heard the news? We immediately gathered another army under Periya Velar and marched to Madurai. Oh yes, I remember. On our way, we met with Periya Palvettariyar. He was outraged that we didn't form the army under his captaincy, said Parthibendran. Yes, I remember that too. Our army reached Madurai and we got down to it right away. We fought with vigor and they were no match to us. Their army started scattering, but this time we decided not to spare even a single soldier. We spread out too. While our armies were hunting down the Pandya men, we pursued Veerapandiyan. We were following his tracks, and Pandya fish emblem flag flying on top of the palanquin of an elephant led us to them. Pandya king's god, much fiercer than our Chola gods. Men who have sworn their life to protect their king stood like a castle around their king. I am still amazed that we didn't hesitate. We didn't stop slicing them up until the last of the Pandya guard fell. Only then we realized it was a diversion. Veerapandiyan wasn't in the palanquin, but we didn't give up. We began once again. When we were searching up and down the banks of the river Vaigai, I found bloody tracks leading up to a house with lush gardens. Do you remember when we first landed in Madurai? I warned you and our soldiers to not enter or disturb the garden house with the Perumal temple. It was not just because of the presence of the temple within its premises. It was because of the presence of her. Yes, I saw her accidentally. She was totally changed. She had her hair tied up in an Andal bun. She was clad in saffron. I asked her, why all the changes? And she said, this is me from now on. I have become a Perumal devotee and I will marry the Lord himself one day, just like Andal. I asked her if she needs anything, and she asked that our men don't disturb her house as her parents were very old and fragile, which is why I ordered you everyone not to go in. The conversation made me very sad. I didn't believe in people marrying God or sacrificing one's life for that cause. So I swore to myself, once I kill Veerapandiyan, I would go back to Palayarai, ask my parents to permit me to marry the priest's daughter as my reward. So imagine my surprise when the bloody tracks went into her house. I followed them in all the while, praying that what I suspect shouldn't be true. But it was true. I peeked through the window and saw Veerapandiyan lying in bed. Nandini was tenderly cradling his head and feeding water to a wounded Veerapandiyan. She was shedding tears for him. I was devastated. I kicked the door open and went in. Nandini ran towards me and hugged my legs. She begged to spare Veerapandiyan's life. If the affection you once had on me is true, please spare him, she said. What is your relationship with him? I demanded to know, and she said, my love, my future. He has promised to marry me. Please spare him for me. Please, she begged. But I was enraged beyond reason. I wasn't this angry even when he took the land we won. But he took the woman I loved. I kicked Nandini away and leapt onto Veerapandiyan's side and sliced his neck open. His head rolled away separately. I grabbed his head in one hand and walked out of the house. I turned to look at Nandini again. I thought she would be shocked or devastated. But no, she was staring straight at me. The look was chilling. I still don't know the meaning of her look. Then you guys came in search of me, and seeing the beheaded Veerapandiyan, you all started celebrating. Oh yes, I remember. You even said not to disturb the priest's daughter, as she was in shock seeing the horrific act. Didn't you try to see her after that? Asked Parthibendran. Yes, I did, the very same night. You all were rejoicing the victory, but I couldn't. I regretted that I didn't grant her wish and spare him. I wished to apologize, so I slipped out, fetched a horse and rode to the garden house. But the house was blazing. Someone had set fire to the house. An elderly couple were crying in front of the house. I was able to recognize them from the time I saw them in Isana Sivabhattar's house. I inquired what happened. They said they had left Nandini alone and went to see their pregnant elder daughter who was living on the other side of the river. Somehow, the way they said it made me think Nandini wasn't their real daughter. No one will leave their daughter alone in the house in times like war. Anyway, they said someone informed them that Nandini was tied and abducted, which is why they swiftly came back home as they feared Nandini was missing and the house was ablaze. I was sure it was a Pandya guards, and it serves her right for trusting the Pandyas. I cursed them all and rode back. I regretted that I couldn't apologize to her. I never imagined that Nandini would leave this world and me so soon. Then we returned to Kanchipuram. We started with the expansion of a territory in the north. It was then that the news reached us that Periya Palvettarayar has married a very young girl. Remember, we were scorning his ill-thought decision? Anyway, soon after that I was summoned to the palace in a hurry and they crowned me the prince. Probably my father suspected that Madurandagadeva was being influenced by someone to challenge my claim to the throne. But the ceremony went really well. Everyone rejoiced for me, my family, the ministers, the people. I even forgot about Nandini and celebrated with everyone. But fate seized my happiness quickly. Father asked me to go to the women's private quarters to get the blessings from the palace woman. So I went. Mother, grandmother, Kundavai, her friends, everyone surrounded me. But the only face I could see was hers. Someone I believed was burnt to ashes stood there in the flush, clad in silk and gold. She looked like a golden statue. She looked royal. For a minute, I assumed some miracle had happened. I thought someone who knew my heart rescued her and brought her here to get her married to me. That she was my crowning ceremony gift. While I was eagerly waiting for someone to explain her presence, My father fainted. Everyone rushed to take care of him, but he was alright in a minute. I discreetly pulled Kundavai aside and asked, "Why was Nandini here?" She replied, "How? You didn't hear? Our Periya Palvetariyar, that grandpa, married her. So she's our grandma now." Her words felt like a lightning struck on me. "Yes, I remember you were very sad that day. We were wondering why you were neither happy when you killed Veerapandiyar nor when you were crowned. We even teased you and tried to cheer you up. Nothing worked," said Parthibendran. Yes, I remember too. After that, I decided never ever to see her again. But she herself sent a word asking me to come to Palvur to meet her. Initially, I rejected her invite, but I was plagued with questions. The doubts I had about her parentage, why she said she loved Veerapandiyan but married Periya Palvetariyar, and on top of that, I was weirdly suspicious of my father's illness. On that day, he fainted and recovered quickly, but ever since then his health has been deteriorating. For some reason, my mind keeps telling me that she is the reason, but I don't know why. I wanted answers to all my questions, so I decided to visit her. But these were just reasons. The real reason I went is because I wanted to see her one more time. I went to Palvur. I went to their palace. Periya Palvetariyar conveniently wasn't in the town. No one there knew my previous relationship to her, so no one suspected anything. They assumed that I was here to get blessings from the palace woman. I met Nandini. She congratulated me for being crowned the prince. She said she was happy for me, but I replied that I am not happy. She asked me, "Why?" Like she already didn't know why. I said, "Don't you know why? You took away all my happiness. That's why. First you said you loved me. Then you said you loved Veerapandiyan. Now you have married Periya Palvetariyar. Why?" I asked in a rage. She replied, "Whoa, calm down, prince. First, you killed my love. Next, you killed my lover. Looks like your anger won't sublime till you kill me." Her words infuriated me, and I said those damn words, those dishonorable words. And it's evidence that I lose my mind whenever I'm around her. Do you know what I said to her? I said, "Even now, it's not too late. Leave that old man and come with me. Even I will step down from being a prince. Let's go somewhere far, far away and live happily," I said. Can you believe I said that to another man's wife? But do you know what she said? She said, "You want me to give up all this and then do what? Elope with you and live by doing manual labor and menial jobs?" I said, "Yeah, right. The priest's daughter has now become the Palvur princess. Of course, you can't live without these riches anymore." Yes, I became the Palvur princess, but I won't stop. Not until I become the queen. Not just any queen. I'll become the queen of this Chola kingdom. Even now, give me the green light. I will kill the Palvetariyars with my own hands and come with you. You can lock your father in jail. Stand before me as the king of this Chola kingdom. Promise me to make you queen. I will marry you," she said. I started shivering from head to toe. I asked, Why this venom, Nandini? You beheaded Veerapandiyan right in front of me? Don't you think it's fitting?" she asked. For the first time in my life, I was terrified, and my voice betrayed my fear and my anger. I cursed her and started walking out of the palace. She called out loudly after me, "My prince, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right here. Anytime you decide to do everything I said, come fetch me," she said. I left that place in a daze. Parthiba. Finished Aditya Karikalan. Now that Parthibendra Pallavarayan has taken in everything that happened to his best friend, he said, I'm glad you were not seduced by her immoral words.
Yes, I didn't get seduced then, but I'm tormented by her day and night. Her words echo again and again in my dreams, which is why I'm scared even to go to Tanjore, which is why I'm sending letters to my ailing father instead of visiting him,
said Aditya Cholan. Don't you think it's lame to fear a woman? Asked Parthibendran.
No, I don't fear the woman. I fear myself. I fear that I might pay heed to her words, imprison my own kin and make her my queen,
said Adityan. Hearing you speak like this makes me think right now our first enemy is her. Maybe I should travel to Tanjore first thing in the morning and kill her.
Don't you ever decide to do such a thing. Then you will be the next person I kill. If Nandini has to be killed, I will be the one to do it. And after that, I'll kill myself too,
said Aditya Karikalar.
Parthiba, what I said is for your ears only. Do not repeat them to anybody. Forget everything. Now, as per Tata's instructions, you start tomorrow morning to Ceylon and bring my brother back here. Then you and we both can leave to Ceylon and finish the war ourselves. And after that, let's keep invading and expanding this dynasty. Only that will keep my mind distracted,
said Aditya Karikalan. They concluded the conversation as Malayaman Tata returned from watching the street theatre drama.
Parthiba, you still have to sail in the morning. You better sleep,
said Malayaman, and all three split up. With this ends Book 1 of Ponniyin Selvan, and so does our Season 1. So viewers, how do you like Kalki's story and screenplay? Does he make you sit on the edge of your seat? I'm sure he does. So some knots have been untied and some new knots have been tied up. To unravel them, you have to wait for Season 2. Before that, we'll be releasing Season 1's full recap. And in that, will be few hints about what is awaiting you in Season 2. So, stay tuned to Kadhatellaporom channel. Bye-bye.